Whatever you may think of the Game Awards, there's no doubt that Nintendo brought some interesting trailers to the show, and they started off immediately with the new Mario Maker trailer. Though it wasn't very long, it did show off a ton of new elements to this Mario level creator. But there's more here than you might realize, showing that the game has progressed quite a bit since E3. So it's time to break out the old analysis machine to find out what secrets and hidden details that Mario Maker is hiding. Let's start things off by taking a look at the interface for creating these levels. At the top left is a drop-down menu to decide which Mario game the level will look like. In addition to the original Super Mario Bros. And New Super Mario Bros., there's Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. Choosing one of these four decides what the elements of the level will look like, from the style of enemies to the power-ups to the blocks that you break along the way. But within this part of the interface are two other things of note. One is an arrow on the right side that will likely cycle through different level elements to choose from. What we're not sure of is whether you'll always have to hit that arrow to select them, or if you might be able to switch out the ones that are immediately available, essentially creating a customized quick select dashboard. This might explain why the options available here are slightly different than the ones shown during E3. Then there's an odd empty spot marked by a ninja star symbol on the left side. If this is indeed a quick select menu, perhaps that's what appears if nothing is placed in that spot. Although it may also be something entirely different, since all of the other elements are grouped in sets of 4, while this one is all on its own, which is a bit odd. Could it be a toggle of some sort, or maybe an unlockable feature? Below the Game Select icon is an option that allows the player to select the theme for the level, and in the footage we can see several of them in action, including castle themes for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario World, underwater levels for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario World, underground levels from Super Mario Bros. 3, and of course the primary level theme, which is the only one shown for all 4 games. Despite this, we think it's a safe bet that every theme shown here will be available in all 4 games. Now, based on the two icons we can see, one showing hills representing the grassy levels and the other lava for the castles, this likely suggests there will be some elements you won't be able to mix and match, like the lava, which appears in both castle themes and nowhere else. And we can't help but wonder if the lava is a constant element of the castle levels, automatically being placed at the bottom of the course. Directly across the interface on the right side is the timer, and we're guessing it's customizable too. Otherwise, there'd be no reason for it to appear here. Now, in the latest footage, we can see it always starts at 500 seconds, although it's possible you'll be able to extend that all the way to 999, since that's what it was set to in the E3 demo. The hand and the eraser icons are pretty self-explanatory as to what they do, either selecting or erasing certain things respectively. Oh, and their appearance is actually ripped right from Mario Paint, and so are the dog and trash can icons directly below, and also serve the same purpose, with the dog undoing your last action, while the trash can deletes the entire project. Now, in the bottom left of the interface is the start button, which allows players to test their creations, but it's the icon next to it that has us curious. It's just a little picture of Mario. Could this perhaps be a toggle to select whether you start as Small Mario or Big Mario? It would explain why Mario is big in a couple of the clips, despite having used up only a few seconds on the clock, assuming it started at 500 seconds. Or, and this is a bit more of a wild idea, what if it's a character toggle, allowing you to choose between maybe Luigi and perhaps even the Toads? Continuing on, there's the level scrub bar, which shows the start and goal points, and allows you to quickly scroll to any point in the level while highlighting the section of the level that you're currently looking at. But there's one more thing to note, the arrow sign at the beginning of the level. These signs never appeared in the original Super Mario Bros. Or Mario Bros. 3, so it's a completely new asset for these games. However, it serves an important function, as it appears to mark the starting point for the player, and its location can seemingly be changed at will by moving the yellow bar beneath it to wherever the creator wants, although there may be the stipulation that it has to be on some kind of platform. But there's obviously much more to Mario Maker than just the interface, as the game is loaded with elements from all 4 games, and there seems to be a commonality between all 4 of these games since the appearance can be changed on the fly in edit mode, instantly switching the appearance of every element from one game to its equivalent in the next. But just because they all look the same doesn't mean they all behave the same. The best example of this are the Koopa Troopas. When Mario jumps on one while in the Super Mario Bros. 3 theme, it curls up in its shell, allowing it to be kicked or presumably picked up and thrown, as in the original game. However, when Mario jumps on one in the Super Mario World theme, it acts like you would expect it to in that game, with the Koopa Troopa being ejected from his shell. So it appears selecting a game's theme changes far more than just the visual style, as all the original object's properties are carried over too. Well, mostly, but more on that in a sec. So this means Mario won't suddenly be able to carry shells in the Super Mario Bros. Theme as we saw at E3, whereas it also likely means that Goombas will act like Galoombas in Mario World, requiring 2 hits to take down instead of 1. But beyond the enemies, these changes even apply to Mario too, as he'll gain the ability to wall jump and ground pound in the new Super Mario Bros. Theme only, as shown toward the end of the trailer, which opens the possibility for the spin jump to appear in the Super Mario World theme. This means that players can create completely new challenges based on the game they decide to use, opening up even more possibilities. However, that doesn't mean that enemy properties can't be changed, as we saw both in the E3 demo and in the many examples from this trailer. For example, in Super Mario Bros. 3, Grand Goombas would be squashed just like normal ones, but in the trailer they actually split into a pair of regular Goombas, just like the ones from New Super Mario Bros. This could mean that traits from later games in the Mario series can be given to earlier enemies, and we imagine this feature may work similar to how you could choose between red and green Koopa Troopas at E3, simply by grabbing and shaking it. And we see something similar with Lakitu here when Mario takes him out and hijacks his cloud for a joyride, which was something that was impossible in the original Super Mario Bros. In turn, this gives Lakitu a new animation where it goes spiraling naked into the distance. It's not just enemy behaviors that can be changed though. Like in the E3 demo, different elements can be combined from completely new combinations. One example is the cannons that can be now changed to fire things other than bullet bills, such as enemies like bloopers or even spinies. But they're not your average run-of-the-mill spinies. These have wings. And as we saw in the demo, the wings are a completely separate element that can be added to just about anything. So in this case, the combination of the cannon and the wings makes the spinies even more dangerous than usual. Oh, but that's not all. These spinies have what appears to be a completely new ability. As they fly, they continually curl and uncurl into a ball, which not only affects their altitude, with them dropping, then rising each time they roll into and out of a ball, but somehow allows them to shoot out spikes in all 4 primary directions each time they curl up, turning the section into a kind of bullet hell. Now you don't have to make the cannon super threatening. Instead, you could try changing it to something a bit nicer, like coins. Regardless of what you choose, all you have to do is drag the object right into them to have the cannon start firing that object, giving each one a mystery box flavor. And this same idea applies to question blocks as well. Not only can they be given wings in the original game, but they can be filled with piranha plants instead of coins or power-ups. Presumably this means that any enemy can be placed in here as well. And there's one more example of this too, Lakitu. He's actually throwing coins in this scene, which likely means that he could throw other types of power-ups or enemies as well, just like the question blocks and the cannons. And we can't help but wonder if this might also apply to the Hammer Brothers that we saw in the E3 demo, although there's no sign of them in the latest trailer. The cannons also show off another ability here, as they seem timed to Mario's location. Are they timed to always fire in this pattern, perhaps based on the order that you place them in, or is it based on the location of Mario? There's another type of layering shown off in the trailer as well. It looks like certain elements can actually be placed in the same space as another, namely platforms and enemies, as we see this new platform appear behind the piranha plants without actually removing the ones that were already here. This means that some complicated configurations can be arranged. The best example of this is during one of the underwater levels, with multiple mushroom platforms layered over one another. In addition, it looks like the size of the enemies can be changed as well, since bloopers have never been this big in a 2D Mario game. How many different aspects can be changed for each enemy? Take this scene for example, where a giant Koopa Trooper shell is actually able to break through solid blocks, whereas it would have just bounced off in the original game. It's yet another example of the vast amount of customization that seems possible. At its simplest, players can even stack enemies to create tricky hybrids, such as this one with a Buzzy Beetle, a Goomba, and a Spiny. As we stated before, it looks like each game has an equivalent for each level element. However, there are some cases where it looks like brand new assets had to be created in order to provide those equivalents. In this case, the main platform type becomes a cage in the underground Super Mario Bros. 3 theme. Likewise, it seems the mushroom platforms from other games actually appear upside down in Mario World, where they never appeared at all. Just how many new assets were created for Mario Maker? Perhaps one of the biggest additions since E3 though, is that levels can now actually have far more verticality to them. During the E3 demo, the only types of levels that could be made were ones in a straight line. But here we see Mario have to drop down and use Lakitu's cloud to navigate up and down the level. The question is, did the lava have to be set at the bottom and then build the blocks up to place the starting position higher? Or could you zoom out on the map and place things wherever? And could this hint at the possibility of creating secret rooms and connecting them with warp pipes? And there's something else we can't help but wonder. Did you notice how the goal at the end of the level changes to match that of the selected game theme, such as the flag for the original Super Mario Bros. Or the goal box for Super Mario Bros. 3? But it's that goal box that got us thinking, because as fans already know, the goal box was really only useful if you got 3 of the same items in a row to earn extra lives, which of course required playing at least 3 levels. Could this hint at being able to link multiple custom levels together to create your own Mario worlds, or possibly even an entire adventure? It might seem massive in scope, but it seems a waste to have the goal box there as just a nostalgic throwback. And hey, do you remember how we mentioned earlier that some levels appeared to show Mario starting in a powered up form? This could explain why. Maybe he had grabbed a super mushroom in the previous level and carried it over to the next. Now that same goal box scene also confirms the appearance of the raccoon suit, but among these games, it only ever appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3. So what form could it take in the other game themes? After all, we haven't seen any other game-specific items yet, as far as we know. And could this mean that every unique power-up from each game could appear, such as the Frog suit, the Hammer Brothers suit, the Super Cape, the Penguin suit, and perhaps even Yoshi? This raises so many possibilities when it comes to creating your own Mario levels. Okay, we're almost done here, but there's still a few things we wanted to point out. For one, despite emulating the look of the old games, some new graphical touches have been added. The fire bars rotate a lot smoother, for example, and when enemies hit lava in the original Super Mario Bros. Theme, they now make a splash. It also takes a note from NES Remix and has everything in the foreground now cast a shadow into the background. It's little touches like these that give the game a bit more flavor. Oh, and do you remember how the backgrounds for the new Super Mario Bros. Theme were flat 2D pictures in the E3 demo? Well, they now appear to be 3D as well, just like in the original game. Despite seeing how far Mario Maker has come since E3, there's a ton we don't know about, but the sheer potential of the game and what it could allow players to do is astronomical. And if these levels, or even entire Mario adventures, can be easily shared online, this could truly be a thriving community. But until then, we've pointed out everything we could find in this new trailer. Of course, if we missed anything, let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, be sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Mario Maker and other things gaming too. Until next time guys, bye.